Dear DSA students, we are so excited to be on this journey with you, and we want to say a big well done for your commitment and enthusiasm so far. Whether you have just joined or you have been learning with us over the past few weeks, we see your progress and we are rooting for you all the way. Now, we know there's been a bit of silence around the learning management system, and we sincerely apologize for that. But here's the good news. We have an update as regards the learning management system, and it is one you'll love. Some of you may have been onboarded on the previous LMS, but want to ask that you kindly disregard any previous link, platform, or communication concerning that old system. We are officially switching to a new platform that you may be familiar with, Canvas by Instructure. For those new to Canvas, don't worry. A video tutorial will be uploaded to guide you step by step on how to use the platform effectively on our YouTube channel. You will also receive an onboarding email directly from Canvas by Instructure to help you get started. Please follow the instructions in the email and input your details to begin your learning journey on the platform. We are committed to making sure your learning experience is smooth, interactive, and impactful. So please, pay close attention to the announcements coming right after this video for more details. We are so glad to have you with us. Keep going, we've got this.
Okay, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I want to believe that everyone can hear me. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. From Nigeria, I hear good evening. From other part of the world, you can say good afternoon or good morning, right? So, yeah, I think we are glad to be back today, right? I'm glad to be here, and I believe the same thing to you guys that we are glad to be back. And let us continue on our SQL for data analysis journey, right? Taking you from basic to intermediate, then to advanced, right? So, okay, and from Lagos, okay, thank you. So I would like to know, is there any other people joining us, or do we have a candidate outside Nigeria, right? Maybe let me even confirm, right? Maybe from other country of Africa or other country of the world. I will appreciate if you can say good evening from Lagos, good evening from Nigeria, or good evening from any state of Nigeria, or good evening from South Africa, good evening from UK, from Germany, okay. Sholak Babajide, good evening from UK, thank you. All right. Okay, let's roll it. Let's roll it on. Okay. Daniel Adekunle, good evening from UK. Good evening from Ogun State. From Scotland. Wow. Murita Laula Dipupo, Scotland. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. From RCCG camp. From PH. From Ogijo. Right. Ogijo State. From Benin City. Wow. That's from US. Eposa Jeremiah. Right. Okay, Dennis Ajala from Germany, from Delta State, from Benin City, from Ibadan, Gundele, from Ondo State. Wow, that's fine. Oh, from Ekiti State. Wow, Jide Fulani from my state. Wow, that's good. From US, I'm prophesying. Oh, who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Jennifer Ofoedu, okay, from US and prophesizing. I like that spirit, right? Don't worry. By the time you finish your data analysis, you just get a remote job with a US company and they want to sponsor you to US, right? That's fine. I like that spirit. Adeyonu Olukayode from South Africa. That's good. Okay, from Atlanta, from United States of Nigeria. Wow, what being guy do? That's good, right? Right. Oba Folashade from Redemption City, right? Okay, from Otago State. That's fine. Awesome, awesome. Right, from Kaduna State. Oh, Williams from Kaduna State. That's fine. That's fine. From United States of Abuja, Eposa. Ah, okay. Okay. From Canada, I'm prophesying amen. Okay. From UK. Don't worry. Data analyst will take you out of Nigeria, right? If you are in Nigeria, you want to go to any other part of the country, don't worry. This journey can take you around the world, right? Right, from Ogba Ikeja. At this following show, Adeleye from Ogba Ikeja, you are very close to me. Wow, I like that. Wow, that's fine. That's fine. From Ibadan State. Okay. From Ilorin, from Coast River. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Thank you guys. Thank you. At least I'm glad to know that it is not only people residing in Nigeria that's on in this class. It's also a privilege for me to be tutoring people all over the world, right? Don't know what is the way I'm excited, right? The way I'm excited that okay, people from Germany, from Scotland are part of people I'm tutoring, right? So that in the nearest future, when we see, oh, I remember you. You know, let me give you a testimony, right? Let me give you a testimony. It happens to me last week Sunday in my church, right? I was just sitting down in my department, my choir department, right? And one lady just walked in and he just left the congregation and just she came to greet me. I said, me, this small boy. And he said, sir, have you forgotten? I said, forgotten. I said, so I don't know. He said, you taught me SQL during the LITA, Ladies in Tech Africa. I said, wow, I can't remember. Wow, this lady is a lawyer, is a barrister, right? So he just took that course just to learn some things about data privacy, data governance. So it's want to go into security, law security. So you need some of those idea, right? So I said, wow, me, this small world, right? So that's I love that. So maybe by ending of this year, it can be in Canada, and some of you guys are in Canada, you say, oh, I remember you, right? So that's fine. So thank you, everyone. Okay, right. I sent some data sets to you guys. I believe everybody have received your data sets, right? One for employee, one for salary, one for payment, right? I sent it across. I believe you guys have received it. And I believe by now everybody should have gotten the materials, the present one showing on my screen. I believe by now everybody should have gotten it, and I believe everybody should have read it more than one times, like 2, 3 times. Should have read this, right? So that as we are progressing in the training, you are just catching up, right? Okay. Someone said that he has not received. So I see the data that you have not received or your materials, right? I think I have some other materials I'm going to share after today's class. I'll also share that as well. But today's data, the data set we are using today, I believe everyone should have gotten it. If you have not received it, you can check your mail, right? I think they will have sent it to you via your email, right? You can check your email, right? You can check your email. No data sent yet. I have not received any materials. Yeah, but let's focus on the data set we are using for today's class. I've not received any data set and materials. Okay. You can check your mail, and they admit to they are listening to us, right? So maybe some of you will definitely get it, right? But let's just continue with the class, right? So that as we progress, as we proceed in the class, you will definitely get your data set for the class, right? So so I believe by now everybody should have opened your studio now. Open your studio. Let's connect to our SQL Server Studio. All right. Let's connect. Then there's one thing I didn't mention in our last class. I sincere apologies on that. Right. How to save your query. Right. I didn't mention that. So if you didn't save your last class query, right? But I think I sent it to you. You guys should have also gotten the SQL query for last class. I sent to you in Notepad. I believe everybody should have gotten that too as well, right? So we are going to continue from where we stopped in our last class, right? We're going to continue from there, right? So if you didn't save it, right? We'll just open it. We'll open the SQL query for last class, then we'll continue from there. Then at the end of today's class, I'm going to show you how to save your SQL query, right? Because all the SQL query we are going to write for the class we're going to save it in one notepad, right? In one notepad, so that you can still make reference to it. So like I saved the one for last class, right? I saved it. So if you save your own, like automatically, so what Microsoft does is that it automatically creates a SQL Server Management Studio folder for you. Automatically, you don't need to create it. It's once you saved it like this, it will automatically create a folder for you in your document. Right. So like if you can see my screen now, so it automatically save it for you. Then you just go there. So if you save your own, right, you go to file, go to open, then navigate to file again. Navigate to file, click on the file, then try to look for your documents. Then in your document, look for SQL Server Management Studio folder. Double click on it. So whatever the name you saved it, you see it. I saved it with okay, I think I saved it here. Right. Let me check again. I think I saved it in another document. I think I saved my own in another document. Right. Let me check. Okay. Let me check. I'm coming. Okay. Right. So this is like a sample of the one I saved. Right. So you can see I'll just bring it up like that. Right. Okay. So if you save your own, you can just bring it, you just upload it, and then we'll continue with the class. Someone said I'm still unable to use MySQL. It is saying repair on store. MySQL. You see, sorry, MySQL. You see MySQL workbench. My SQL server can't open. Why? Why? So you have to go to your search. If you have not pinned it, type SSMS, right? It will come up, then click open, right? Type SSMS, sorry, SSMS, right? So definitely you're going to see it. So once it's open, you click on it. It's going to open for you, right? It's going to open for you, right? Okay. Okay, now let's continue. Let's start with today's class. Someone say I'm ready, so I'm already zooming it, right? So in our last class, we create a database called DSA_DB, right? That's the first thing we did in our last class, right, create a database called underscore DB. That's the first thing. Then from there, we created a table, right, called employee, right, employee, right, then open brackets, right, open brackets, where we have a staff ID, we call staff ID variable character, varchar, I said with 10 places, 10, right. Let me just copy it. This is what we did. Okay. So we created this table in our last class. Remember? So I'm just trying to do a recap of what we did in our last class, right? Sorry, please. Okay, someone is saying show us how to. No, so don't worry. Let's continue to this, right? At the end of today's, I'm going to show you how to save it, right? I will show you. Let's just continue, right? So that's the reason why, I sent the code, the SQL query code. I sent it to you guys, right? So just copy it and paste it in your studio. You can just copy it from the notepad and paste it so that you can continue. Then after today's class, then I'm going to show you how to save it, right? Then one of the other thing I promised in our last class, for those that used my SQL workbench, right? Let me try this. Right, so this is my SQL workbench. I'm now moving towards my SQL workbench. Yes, Lucky Ajudia. My SQL is requesting for server name and password and host name. No, it should only request for server name. And since you have downloaded everything, I show you, maybe you have to watch our last class video, right? Yeah, it's already explained there, right? Oyinlola Oladeji, your SQL Server Agent SP is disabled. But does it affect your query? Does it affect your query? If it does not affect your query, just continue. If it doesn't affect you, open, clicking on new query and start your code and start your SQL query. If it doesn't affect you, just continue, right? Just continue with the class. So our varchar is 100, not 255. You can use anyone. You can use 100, you can use as Catherine Martin. You can use anyone, depend on the length of your character. You can use 100, you can use 255, you can use 1, you can use 3. You can use any of the number, right? You can use anyone. Are you getting me? Right. So for those that use my SQL workbench, I'm already at my SQL workbench now. I just want to show you how to create table, right? I'm going to copy that the same SQL query we used, right? I will copy it, I'll paste it in my SQL, and I will run the code for you, right? So I'm going to copy from here, right? Then I'll go to my SQL workbench, so that, because for those of you that are using my SQL, you don't need to worry yourself about anything, right? Okay, so I'm going to paste it. right? So you can see. Now, someone asked a question that in our last class, that do we need to put semicolon, is it semicolon or column at the back of each of our query? Like I said, in SQL Server, it is not necessary, but in MySQL Workbench, it is necessary, right? In my SQL Workbench, it is necessary. Right? It is necessary that we put that in my SQL Workbench. For Workbench, you don't need to create a schema. You don't need to create a schema, right, for Workbench. So if I put my semicolon here now, right, so I will run this first one, right, database DSA underscore DB created successfully, right? So if I come to this place, right, sorry, please a minute, let me know why this is this. Okay, you can see my database now. It has been created, right? You can see DSA underscore DB. It has been what? Created. Now, if I run this now, but I want this, right? If I run this, I have to specify which database. I have to what? To specify which database I want to, under which database should my table be created? Under which database should my table be created, right? So now, first thing now, if I highlight, I execute, right? It has been created. It said, but no database selected. I got an error message, right? I got error message saying no database has been created. No database has been created. So it means I have to now come to this place, say DBA underscore, sorry, DSA underscore DB, then dot. Then I will run it again, right? Successfully created, right? Successfully created. So when you are creating a table in my SQL Workbench, you need to reference SQL Server. Sorry, you need to reference the DSA. That's your database, DSA underscore DB. You need to reference it so that when you create your table, it automatically goes to the correct database. Like if I come to this place now, if I click on DSA now, then right click and say refresh, you're going to see you're going to see the table I created now. So you can see employee, right? You can see employee. So if I want to check if the table actually created successfully, I'm going to say select from employee, right? Right. If I execute now, okay, no database, so I have to specify, like as you can see now, DSA underscore DB, then dot employee, right? So if I run now, so you can see the table has been created, right? So for those of you that are using my SQL, so you can see that it's nothing much difference, right, between my SQL Workbench, SQL Server, and Postgres. There's nothing much difference. Just the only difference is like in SQL Server we use schema. You have to that schema is automatically created. In Postgres, you have to create the schema. If you don't want to use public schema, you have to create your own private schema, right? Then in my SQL Workbench, you don't need to create schema. Your schema is your database, right? So please, you need to pay attention to all those small difference, but the query is still the same thing, right? So I'm going to go back to the SQL Server now, right? So I believe those of you that are using my SQL Workbench, we are on the same page now. right? So now let's go. So I'm already on SQL Server now, right? So that we can continue. So someone is saying, can we retrieve last class work? We did not save it. I send it to you. So if you don't save it, you don't have a problem. But I send it to you. You guys should have received it, right? I send it to you immediately after the class. I send a notepad in a notepad. So just copy it and paste. So just copy it and what I and paste. So if you did like myself, I didn't save it too as well. I didn't save it, right? So if you don't save it your own too, just copy and paste. Then let's continue from there. And if you have not received it, I'm already repeating what I did in first class, right? So you can just pay attention. You can just pay attention. If you have not received it, let's just continue. Now, so we created a database called DSA_DB, right? So the table I created last week, I'm going to drop the table now, right? I'm going to drop the table. I'll just use delete direct, but I will show you how to write a SQL query to drop a table. Right now, so this is the SQL query, right, to create a table. So I'm going to create it now, right? But before I create that, I need to make sure that my DSA database is enabled, right? It's what is showing here. Then I'll create, I'll execute, right? That has been executed successfully. That has been executed successfully, right? Now I can go back to my DSA_DB, that's my database, then refresh. Now I'll go to my table. So you see that my table has been created, right? Now, so in our last class, I show you how to write, how to insert into, I might need to reduce this to 150. Okay, I think it's fine like this now. So I showed you how to insert data into your database. So I'm going to show you this one. Then after I show this one, then we now use the data set I sent to you guys. I'm going to show you how to upload or how to import data into your table. Right now, after our table has been created, so the next thing to do is to insert into the table. So these are the things that we mentioned in our last class, right? Then I send all those queries to you. So this is how you can. So if I run this now, it will automatically insert into the table. Then if I check what is in the table, employee, right, you see that 10 record affected. It means 9 record has been inserted, right? So you can see. I believe you guys can see, right? So that's fine. Now, so that is how to insert value into your table. But so what we want to do today is to show you how to import data, a CSV data into your table, into SQL Server. So one thing about SQL Server is that you don't need to create the table. You don't need to create the table, right? You don't need to create the table. So what I'm going to do, the table I created, I'm going to drop it, right? Drop table employee. Aha. So someone is asking a question, do we need to re-execute our work to see each time? We don't need to. You don't need to. Sorry. To see your table, right? To see your table, you need to re-execute. Yes, I get your question now. You need to see your table. You have to be executing the query, right? Anytime you want to see it, you have to execute the query to see your table. You have to execute. So, like what we are doing, what I'm currently doing now is what we did in our last class. So I'm just doing a recap. So I have to be fast. It's a recap of what we did in our last class. So it's a recap of what we did in our last class. So I'm going to be like a recap, and with 30 minutes already gone of our time, right? So I'm actually want to take my time so that everybody can be on the same page before we continue. I'm still doing a recap of what we did in our last class, all right? So I'm done with the recap of what we did now. So let's start today's class, right? Let's start today's class. And please, let's pay attention, right? Let's start today's class, okay? Now, in our last class, we created a table called employee table, right? So if you run your select all from their employee, you will see the table. For those of you that created your table successfully, so you're going to see your table. You're going to see your table. I think about 17 or 18 record that we inserted, right? So that showed you what I did in last class, is that how to manually or how to use SQL query to create table and insert into that table using SQL query. That's what we did. So what we are going to do today is how to import data. So because someone asked a question that what if I have in my data set in a CSV, how do I import it, right? So by the time you started working as a data analyst, most of your data will be given to you. Even your project now, your data will be given to you. So it's hardly you'll be writing SQL query to insert, right? Or writing a SQL query to create a table. But it's also important to know how to do all those things, right? How to write, especially how to write SQL query to create your table. It is very, very important to know how to do that. So we did that in our last class, and I also do a recap of it today, right? Especially if you are using Postgres. If you are using Postgres, you need to create your table before you import. But if you are using SQL Server or you are using my SQL Workbench, you don't need to create your table, right? You don't need to create your table. By the time you import your data, your table is automatically created for you. I'm going to repeat myself now. It is important you know how to using SQL query to create table. It's very, very important, please. That's why I repeat myself. It is important. Now, but if you have your data in either Excel or CSV, or you are moving your data from one database to another database, right? You don't need to create your table. You don't need to create your table, right? When you import your data, right? The table automatically creates for you. That is when you are using SQL Server and Workbench. Are you getting me? But if you are using Postgres, SQL, you have to create your table. You have to create your table. It is very, very important. You have to create your table, right? So I think that is clear, right? Now, this table I have created now, I'm going to drop the table, right? I remember when we're talking about SQL command, right? Let's go back to our SQL command. let's go back to our SQL command. We're talking about drop, right? It's under DDL, that's under data definition language. We're talking about drop. So what is drop? Drop is used to delete both the structure and the record stored in the table. You can see it now. It is used to delete both the structure and the record stored in the table. That's delete. Now let's look at what is truncate. Truncate, it is used to delete all the record, all the rows, or all the record from the table and free the space containing the table. Now we're trying to get the difference between drop, truncate, and delete, right? The difference between drop, truncate, and delete. Drop is used to delete both the structure and the record stored in the table. At least if you use drop, you are deleting the entire table. You are deleting the entire table. That's when you use drop. But when you use truncate, you are only deleting the record in the table. The table still remain, but the record will be deleted. Now, let's look at what delete is. Delete is under data manipulation language. Other data manipulation language. Delete statement is used to delete existing record in a table. So when you are using delete, you are not actually deleting the entire table. You are not actually deleting the record in the table, but you are deleting, let's say, a portion of the table. Let's say, for instance, I want to delete my record from my company, my previous company. So I will say delete, right, from table. That's the table name where staff ID is equals to 200. Where staff ID is equal to 200. So that's what delete does. Now, if you understand that, let's go back to our SQL Server Studio and let's look at it one after the other, right? Now, this table has been created, right? The first thing we need to do is to look at how drop work. I said the drop deletes the structure, right, and the record of the table. So meaning it deletes everything about the table. So if I execute this line 28, it's going to delete everything, right? You can see my table now. If I execute, it says command completed successfully, right? Command completed successfully. That's meaning the employee table has been created now. If I go back to my DSA_DB and I refresh, you will not see my table again, right? Refresh, go to the table, you will not see employee table, right? So be careful when you use drop, truncate, and delete. Very careful, because once a table is dropped, you can't get it back. You have to go and what? Create it again. The only reason you can get it back is if it is backup. If you have backed it up before you mistakenly delete it, you can go back to the backup stage and restore it back. In this scenario now, we've not backed it up, so it's automatically gone. It's automatically gone, right? So what I'm going to do now, for me to get my table that has been deleted, that has been dropped, I have to now recreate again, which is more tedious. It's going to be tedious. So imagine you have a big data of record of millions of records, and you mistakenly drop the table, right? That's a mess. That's a disaster, right? That's a what? Disaster. So be careful of when you use drop, truncate, and delete. So I'm going to go back again and recreate. So I will run this again. right? Now commands, then I'm going to run this one again. So we have our table back now, right? Now, so let me just comment this out so that I don't mistakenly run it again, right? Now, the next thing we want to do is to truncate table called employee, right? Now, what is truncate? So excellence, I just said it, there's no way to undo. So that is why you have to be very careful. Excellence, there's no way to undo, right? You can't. The only way you can undo is that you back it up. The data is backup. Maybe you back it up somewhere. You are in Nigeria. Maybe you back it up in Germany. You can, or you have different you have a driver on your system. Like maybe you have all this kind of drivers. You have them, then you can back it up on those of them, or you create a folder and you back it up. We'll definitely get to that part, right? So you mistakenly delete, you can restore back. But if you have not, then you can't get it. You have to automatically create it again. Right now, so let's look at truncate. Now, so truncate is that we want to truncate this table. And I said truncate what? It deletes all the record, right? But the table still remains. So if I execute this now, right, command successfully, meaning my table is still there. I still have my table, but if I run this line 26 now, you can see that table is empty. So you can see by the table, so you can see the difference between drop and truncate now. Difference between drop and truncate. So truncate will automatically truncate all your record there. Now, if I want to get my record back, I have to come back to this place, right? And insert again. Now I have my record back. Now, so that is that. Now let's look at delete now. How does delete work? So this is how delete. Now I have all this record, right? And one of them has left. This Mercy has left the company. So we want to delete our record, right? She has left. So we want to delete our record from the database. So I now say delete employee, where staff ID. So let me ask a question. Right? I'm going to, so let me say where last name. If I want to use last name, where last name is equals to Mercy, right? Now, if you look at this data set, this record here, the database, we have two people that's bearing that their last name is Mercy. This person and this one, right? Now, if I run this query, who can tell me what will happen to the Mercy? Is it going to be affected by only one person, or all every staff bearing that their last name is Mercy will be deleted? What will be the output? Let's look at it. What will be the output? If I execute now, I said delete employee, where last name is equals to Mercy. Both will be deleted. Yeah, Adeola Samuel, thank you. Both will be deleted, right? And if you run that kind of SQL query, you are already causing disaster to your database, right? Because both will be deleted. So that's the reason why when you are updating your database, you are updating your record, use a unique identifier, the primary key, right? Use primary key. So, right. So it is good. So I'm going to use the staff ID, right? Where staff ID is equals to AB212, right? Now, so if I execute this now, it's only AB212 that will be what? Deleted, right? It said one row affected, meaning one record has been deleted. Now, if I run this now, so let's check AB212, do we have it? No. So you can see now. So that's the difference between delete, truncate, drop, and so that you don't use them where you're not supposed to use them, right? Okay. Now, I think we are on the same page. Now, so let's proceed. So I'm going to drop this now. I'm going to drop this table. Now, so I don't have employee table, right? If I refresh now, I don't have it. Now, so what I want to do now is import. You want to import CSV files, right? Files into DB, right? So we're going to import three. We're going to import employees dot CSV. We're going to import our salary dot CSV. I'm going to import payment, right, dot CSV, right? So we are importing these three tables. So I've explained employee for you. Now I'll proceed to import employee CSV now. So please pay attention. I'm going to show you how to import CSV file, right? But before I will import CSV, what I normally do is that for data quality, it is very, very important as a data analyst, you pay attention to number of record that you are migrating from a source to a destination. It is very important. So I'm going to look at the number of record I have in my data source, right? Then I will make sure that by the time I import, it's at the same number of record, right? Now I'll go to my file explorer. So I'm going to open this, right? Employee. Right. So we have 18 record. So this is my employee table. Right. I have meaning of CSV, please. Olajide Ayodeji, meaning of CSV. Okay. Maybe someone will answer you on the group chat there. Right. CSV just like Excel too now. Yeah, just like Excel. It's another format. It's a file format. Just like where we have Excel, XLX format. Then we have also have CSV. You see Excel, but the format is different from XLX, right? Now, so this is the data set we want to import into SQL, right? This data set we want to import, right? And it's 18, right? If I check, right, said 19, but it's 18, right? So meaning by the time I import, must be the same number of record. So once that is confirmed, then I can go ahead and import. Now I'm going to close it back again. Let me just save it, right? Okay, don't worry. Right, then I'll go back to my studio. right? So what I said last is that before you import your data, to a destination, right? Always confirm the data, right? Like the source of the data, always confirm that. Like, so the one we are doing now, the source of the data is a CSV sitting down in my file explorer on my local machine, right? That's the source. The source of your data can be cloud, can be on premises, can be PDF, can be text, can be JSON file hosted in either Google Drive or OneDrive, right? Hey, your data source can be anything. But for this class, our data source is a CSV that you saved on your local machine, right? On your system. That's it. So, and I said before you import it, make sure you open the CSV and confirm your data. And that's what they refer to as data quality, data integrity, right? Make sure you pay attention to the number of the record before you started importing, right? I've checked my own now. The number of record there is 18. And I'll be sure that by the time I import, it's also give me that the same number of record, right? That's what I'm trying to explain about what data quality or data integrity is, right? Then I'll proceed now. Now, for me to import, I'll click on the database. The database where I want the table to be saved, right? The data or the file I'm importing, the correct database where I want that database to save. That's I'm going to click on. So imagine you have 6 to 7 databases, right? So it is the particular database that you want your file to be uploaded to. That's the database you will click on. So our database is a DSA database. I click on it, right click. You can click on it or just right click on it, then go to task. Right. So someone said it is not only CSV. Yes, now I did not say only CSV. You can import anything. But to your database, if I import anything to database, it can be CSV or Excel. You can't import PDF to database, please. PDF, you can't import it. Text file, you can't import it. So it is a structured data. I explained that when I was talking about database. It is only data that is structured. A structured data, you cannot. PDF, text file, JSON file, they are not structured data, right? So it's either CSV or Excel. These are the only things that you can import, right? If you use a POS as a data entry, right? It means there's going to be a during the ETL design, there's going to be a transformation that takes place before you eventually load it to the database, right? That is where we have people referred to as a data scientist. These are the people that use Python to transform data. You can get your data in PDF. You can import it into Python, transform it. Python will open it for you. Even Power BI can open PDF for you. Power BI can open a PDF file for you, and you can now export it into Excel, right? Someone is saying my CSV files are not structured. What do you mean? It's a structure now. What I sent to you is structure, so you don't need to do anything on it. It's a structure. It's clean, very clean, right? So you go to task, then from task, navigate into flat file. Now, if your file you want to import is a CSV, you click on flat file. If it is Excel, you click on import data. If you are importing CSV file, you click on import flat file. If you are importing Excel, click on import data. That's the difference between the two. That's the difference between the two. If you are importing CSV, click on import flat file. If you are importing Excel, click on import data. Please pay attention to that. It's very, very important. Right. So I'll click on import flat file. Right. I'll click on import file. Then another page open. So another page is saying import flat file into DSA. Right. So once you are once another page is open for you, once this page is open for you, right, you will see a button next. You click on next, right? You can see a simple architecture diagram that explains that you are importing from a file then to a destination referred to as SQL, right? So you can see that. So what this is telling us that this wizard will help you to import the content of a file into a new table in your database, right? Into a new table in your database. Now, so I'm going to click next. So once I click next now, I'm going to specify my input file. Specify my input file. So this operation will create a table from your input file. So when I click on browse, it automatically takes me to my local machine, right? It takes me to my local machine. Then I will navigate where I save. I save my own on the download. If you save your own, so you have to know where you save it, the data. Please make sure you know where your data is saved. My own is saved on download. So I'll click on browse. Then I'll go to download. Then I can see it here. You can see all the two tables I want, all the three tables I want to import, right? You can see it. Now, so I'm going to click on employee. I'll click on employee, then I'll click open. So automatically you see the file path, right? You can also copy your file path and come and paste it here. So you will see that this is from where the file is coming from, right? So once that is done, then I confirm everything okay. My schema is DBO. So I didn't create any schema. So I didn't mean I created any schema. You can specify, but I didn't create. So I'm using the default schema, DBO, right? Then my table name is going to be employee. Then after that, I click next. So now here, give me rooms to preview my data. This will help me to what? To preview my data, to look at my file structure, right? Now I can see that I have a staff ID, first name, last name, and everything. So everything seems to be okay, right? Now, once everything is okay for me and I'm fine, you are fine, then you click next. Now, this page is where you modify your columns. This page gives you the opportunity, right, to modify your column. Let's say, for instance, I want my column names to be in capital letter. I don't want it to be in small letter. So I can change it. I can come here. I say staff ID, right? I can come here and say staff ID. Then my first name, the first name, if I want to put, let's say I want to put underscore in between, I can do the same thing. So here it allows you to modify your column. Then if you want to change your data type also here, like if you remember, if you check the data set, our date time, our higher date is date time, right? You can see that it has a date and it also has a time, right? So what if I don't want it to be date time, I just want it to be normal date? You can come here and change it to just date, right? Then my staff ID is showing me n variable character, or n varchar, and the length is 50, right? So what SQL has done for you is to look at the length of your value of your data and give you 50, right? If it is automatically more than 50, it will give you this. This is what it's going to give you, n varchar max, but it's not more than 50, so that's why it's giving us 50. Then we are good, right? So once everything looks okay, the higher date, if you want to change it, you want to leave it as a date, it's fine. If you want to leave it as date time, it's fine, right? So it means you can see that there's a data type for, if you want your data type to show date and time, yeah, we have it, right? Now, so I will leave it, I'm going to change it back to the date time, right? Then now here, I want to specify my primary key. I want to specify my what? My primary key. Someone is saying if the file destination is changed in the local machine in the future, will it affect the data imported? Yeah, that depends if you are automating it. If you are going to automate that, okay, the file in the destination, sorry, in the source will be updating, then make sure you don't change your file path. If you change, it's going to affect your data, right? So if something that's okay on a daily basis, I'll be updating my source, I'll be updating it, then make sure you don't change the location. But if you change the location, it will affect. That's a good question, right? Now, so let's make sure we update it before we go to our break. Now I want to make the start ID primary key, so I will check the primary key. I'll check the primary key. Once that is done, then I'll click next. Now the next is summary. It's not me that is going to tell me my server name, my database name, my table name, file to be imported, the file path. So when that is fine, I'm going to click finished, right? Sources. If you get error, you can still go back, but I'm not expecting, the data is not supposed to give us error, right? Now, so sources, you can check you can say the following task completed successfully. Then you close this, you go back to your DSA, in refresh, you will see that the table, we have a table called employee. So you can see that I did not create the table now. It automatically creates the table by itself. It makes the work easy for you. All right, that's why I like the SQL Server. The work make you work. It saves you from the time to create a table. It will save you, right, from creating the table. Now I can come here and run this, so you can see. So you can see that it is 18 record that we saw at the source. That 18 record that we have at destination, right? So we're going to go for our break. When we come back, we look at how we are going to import salary and payment CSV. Okay, thank you. If you get error, can you tell me the error message? You can go on break. For those of getting error, can you tell me the error message so that I can? Mine is showing provided name. Okay, yes, like I said, you have to drop the table first. Drop the table. You know, if you follow me, you can see the one we created last week, actually in our last class, I dropped it. So you have to drop it. Or if you don't want to drop it, you can name it as employee 2. But I think I would advise to you drop it first before you do this, right? Someone said it is difficult to follow since SQL can't be downloaded on my laptop. What type of laptop you are using that you can't download? What type of laptop you are using that you can't download? So I need to know. Are you using MacBook? I want to know the. Oh, can they still hear me, sir? Okay. Okay. Can anyone hear me? Break is over. Break is over. Let's continue with the class. Okay. Can anyone hear me? Okay, awesome, awesome. That's fine. Right, let's start. Let's start. Right. I believe right, you guys will be sitting down for more than 1 hour. I think during the break, one of the things that you guys can do is to walk around, right? You just um, walk around, then stretch your leg and so on like that. Right. So I was going through the comments. I was going through the comments and I saw someone, right? Let me go to let me see if I can see the person again. I like what that person said, right? Is ready to help those that face challenges in installing their SQL server, right? Old school, I mean, old lovely soul, right? Old, sorry, let me see the name again. Old lovely soul, right? That's the name. He said, if you have any error message installing your SQL, kindly drop it here. So meaning is ready to assist, right? That's the kind of that's one of what I like, right? I so much like things like that, that people that knows already, but you are ready to assist people that still face challenge. To be honest, I can't attend. We can't, even the facilitators can't attend to as many of you that have a challenge, whether installing or you have a challenges running your queries, right? We cannot attend to everyone. And that's the reason why in my first class, I advise that we should try and make a friend, create a connection, a network here. There are people that, as I'm doing it, already doing it, they are enjoying it. our learning our learning space is not the same thing, right? So I like the people like oh lovely soul, right? Oh lovely soul is ready to assist. So please tag him. If you are having issue installing your SQL server, please reach out to him. He's ready to assist, right? And you know one thing about this thing is that the more you help people, the more you know better. The more you train people, the more you know better, right? Because if you want to train people, you have to practice before you train the person, and you are studied as well, right? So I like that spirit. If you know that you are following me, you don't have any problem, please be ready to assist people, right? To assist your colleague, right? It's going to make a lot of sense. People that you know that are on the same page. So someone said invalid object employee name. So I will advise you to go and drop the first one that we created using SQL query, then import again. Okay, rejoice. Ikiapo said, I'm ready to assist. That's fine. I'm ready to assist. Please, if you are ready to assist, please put it on. Let everybody. Okay, someone is sending Mr. Mushin also advise us on that. That's it. Teaching other people help you to retain more. It's not that, right? I know of a lady during the latest class. Let me stop sharing again. So obviously you cannot share my screen. So I'm going to share my screen. My screen should be up now, right? Sorry about that. Okay, maybe like a technical. So I got my screen is up. Okay, I think you guys should be able to see my screen now. Can you guys see my screen now? Is it not yet? No. Sorry, apologies. We're trying to fix this. Okay. Can anyone see my screen now? Is the screen visible now? Not yet. Okay, the screen is up now. Okay, thank you. Okay, the screen is up. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Right. Okay, so we've been able to import employees successfully. So the next thing we need to import now is salary table. Now it's the same method, but before we import salary table, right? I'm going to show you how to create a table using SQL query. Then we can drop the table. Then we now import it again. So I'm going to get a code for salary. Right, this is the code for salary. Right, so I'll come here. right? Now, I want to create a table for salary, right? Create a table, our salary table, right? Now, so we have a salary ID, we'll have a staff ID, we have first name, last name, department, then we have salary. So these are the things that's going to be in our table, right? We're going to have salary ID, staff ID, first name, last name, department, and salary. So that's the only information we need to have in our table, right? Now, let me explain something here. Salary ID, I use integer. Now, this time around, for salary ID, I want to use integer. I want it to be number, maybe 10, 20, 40, 50, and so on like that. So that's really why I'm using integer, right? That's why I'm using integer. Hope will get that. You know, when we created employee table, we use variable character varchar for staff ID, right? But for salary ID, I want it to be number, right? I want it to be number. So that's why I'm using integer. Now, you can see I use something like identity. So let me explain for those of you that are using MySQL and Postgres. I think in MySQL it is auto increment, right? If you use identity, it will give you error. So you have to use auto increment, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think in MySQL now, I can't remember what I can use in the MySQL. Now, identity means that I'm not going to manually input my value. So it automatically generates by the database. The salary ID will be automatically. So as the record is increasing, the number is also increasing. Now you can see that I put 1 and 1, meaning if the first record is 1, the first record is 1, the second record will be what? 2. The third record will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then if I change it to be 2, if I make this one to be 2, it means if the first record is 1, the second record will be what? 1 plus 2, that will be 3. 3. Then we'll be adding 2, 2, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and so on like that. So that's what this identity does for you. It's auto increase, right? It automatically creates your salary ID. Then it also automatically increase the number of your salary ID by the number, by the differences you stipulated, right? I don't know if you understand that, right? I want to know if you understand that integer, then identity. That's what identity does for you in SQL Server. It automatically creates it for you. Then it also does the auto increment. Now, this not null means I don't want any blank. I want every of the record to be occupied, right, by value. That's what this not none does. I want it to be occupied, right? So I don't want any missing value or in right or blank record. Now, so we have staff ID. Now, why am I still having a staff ID in a salary table again? Why? So it is important to have it because you are still creating a database for one organization, DSA. That's the name of the company we are creating a database for. Now, so it is important that every of the table I create, there must be a staff ID because the table belongs to all the staff of the company, right? So that each table can reference another table. So for instance, if I want to join one table to another table, so I can use that staff ID to be able to join them or to be able to create a relationship between those tables. So that's why the staff ID. Then we now have first name, last name, department, salary. So salary now, I use decimal. As a data type, I use decimal, right? Then the data type, the decimal wants to be in 10 and 3. I use 10 and 3. So meaning the 3 is in the number of values after dots, after decimal, right? So let's say, for instance, now I want to approximate all the figures to the nearest number, like, okay, let's say 3 or 3. You can specify. Then let's say the salary, I want the salary to be 10 figures. So people that are earning 10 million, 20 million, and so on, right? So I want the salary to be 10 million, let's say 10 million, 370,000, 500 and something kobo, right? Let's say it's in 5 places. So automatically, the MySQL query will round it to 3 decimal places, right? To 3 decimal places. Now, also, this tab ID now, it becomes a foreign key in salary. It's a primary key in employee table, but in salary table now, it becomes foreign key. Please know that. Now, so I think that's clear. So I can create the table now, right? The table created successfully. Then I can check what is in my table, right? Select all from salary. Right now, if I execute this, you see that the table has been created. So you can see salary ID, staff ID, first name, last name, department, and salary. Now, let's say, for instance, now if I want to import value into this salary first name, right? You know, this salary table belongs to, let's say, finance department, right? Finance department. The employee table belongs to HR department to have the record of people in the organization. Then the salary table belongs to finance or accounting department, just to prepare the salary of the staff every month. So they want to know the staff ID, the first name and last name, department of department, then the salary as well. How much are they earning? So that's the essence of this one, right? Because you might be asking, why am I repeating the first name and last name again in the salary table, right? Now I want to show you how this identity, how it works, right? I'm going to show you how it works now. So let's say, for instance, now if I copy this, right? If I copy this, then I said insert into. So I'm going to reduce this to 150, right? Sorry. Right. So insert into salary, right? Then open a bracket. So the first thing we have there is salary ID, staff. So because I've made my salary ID to be identity, so I don't need to create it by myself. The database will create it for me. So I only tell the database that I want the salary ID to be increased by 1. So that is from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's what that means. So now here, I'm not going to add my salary ID. So I'm going to just put staff ID, right? Staff ID, then first name, then last name, then department, then salary, right? I close my bracket. Now I close the bracket. Now if I execute, 9 row executed, right? You can see that I didn't specify the salary ID when I inserted into salary, right? I did not specify. But if I execute now, you're going to see that salary ID. So you can see it. You can see it. You can see the salary ID now. It automatically creates it When I want it to be increased by 1, 2, 3. So it depends on the way you want it. You can see. So this is going to be my salary ID. I can make the salary ID as my primary key, while the staff ID will be the foreign key. So it will reference. So the salary ID, the staff ID in salary will reference primary key. That's the staff ID in the employee table, right? Are we on the same page? I think we are clear, right? Okay. Now, so I think that is explanatory. Now I'm going to drop the salary table again so that we can import our data. Drop table salary, right? I'm going to drop it. So drop now. So if I check, if I refreshed, so I'm not going to see it. So only what I have here is my employee table. Now, so once that is done, so let's go back to our local machine and check my salary table to see the data or the record that is there, right? Okay. So see the salary table now. You can see the salary table, right? So, and this is staff ID, first name, department, right? You can see that salary ID that I explained. You can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 16, right? So the number of record I have here is 16. So I'm going to import 16 record into salary table. So once that is confirmed, I close it, right? And then go back to my SQL Server. Now, the same thing I did the other time. Someone said it's not clear. What is not clear? Can I know? Thank God, John. You see the table I created, can staff ID also be used as a salary? No, staff ID cannot be used as a salary now. Staff ID is ID of a staff. So it can't be used as a salary. Salary table, salary column is different. You can see from there, right? Why do you drop the table after using it? It is maintained. This person has not been following us. So Abidemi Adeyemo, you are far from us. I don't know if someone can answer Abidemi Adeyemo, right? Why data type is used for values that are both alphabet and number? Why? What data type? Okay, what data type is a variable character? VACA, right? Is a variable character. That's glow skin goatage, right? So you will use variable character for the data, for the value that has both alphabet and number. Yes. Why are you bringing the data, not creating it? Yes, now I said it. I'm showing you two ways to do it, right? I'm showing you two ways. But the reason why you need to understand why I'm importing data is because in a real life project that you'll be doing, or you can, when you secure a job as a data analyst, your data set will be given to you either in Excel or CSV, right? That's the reason why I'm showing you. You won't be creating all this thing, right? You won't be creating insert. It's hardly. I'm showing you that's the reason why. So I can't import in my SQL. Oh God. Okay. Let's quickly go to my SQL. For those of you that say I cannot import in pgadmin, I cannot even advise you to use pgadmin, right? If you're using pgadmin, it's fine. I used pgadmin 6 years ago, so I'm not expecting anyone to be using pgadmin. But if that's what you have, right? I don't have it. There's no way I can explain it to you. I don't have it on my system. That's I don't have it on my system. Yeah, I didn't have it. I've used it, but it's been a long time, 6 or 7 years ago. So if I can't even remember now, right? So Oluwabumi Abolaji, please can you pay attention now? I want to show you how to import data in MySQL, right? So I'm going to show you now. Another thing we can also do, let's drop the employee table too that will be created. Drop table, drop table dba underscore, sorry, dsa underscore db dot employee. Right, let's drop it. Right, okay, so I've dropped it. Right, so if you check now, we don't have it again. Right, if I refresh this, we don't have it. You can see we don't have it now. So I want to import. It's still the same process. That's why I like both my SQL Workbench and SQL Server. It's still the same, but Postgres is a little bit technical, so I might not be able to touch that. Right, so I'm going to right click here, just like the way I right click on DSA in the SQL Server. Then I will click sorry, let me check. Create schema, import data, table data import wizard. Right, you see it. So click on it. It's still the same process like I said. When you click on it, you're going to see file path. Then I'll browse to where I have it. Right, I have it in my download. I'll click employee. Right, then I'll click next. So it's asking me, do you use existing table? Right, you know, I've deleted the table. Right, if you don't, you can use existing table or you can create your own. Like I like creating my own. Right, I want my SQL to create it for me. I want it to create it for me. Yeah, then if the table exists, in case the table exists too, you can just click on drop table if exists. Like the table is not exist, so I don't need to click on drop table if exists. Right, so I'll click continue. My table name is employee. Then the database is DSA underscore DB. If I want to load it into ATM underscore transaction, I can do that. But I want to load it to DSA underscore DB. Right, then I'll click next. Now, here I can preview my data. You can see that it's the same thing. And I can also change my data type here. My date of birth here is showing test. It's supposed to be date, right? I can still leave it as a test, but I'm going to change it to the date, right? Let me check date, right? So what I have here is date. Date, data type is date. I'm going to leave it as a date time. It's showing me as a date time, right? Then this one too, date time. That's only there. You can see the difference between the data type in my SQL Workbench and data type in SQL Server, right? You can see the difference. Yeah. So because I don't want to use date time for date of birth, so I'm going to leave it as a test. I'm going to leave it as a test, right? Because I don't want to use it. But the higher date, I want the higher date to be the date time. So I'm going to change this one to date time, right? Date time. So when that is done, I'm going to click next. You can preview your data here. Then I'm going to click next. Now, it said the following task will now be performed. Please monitor the execution, right? I'm going to click next. So you see when it's import. You can see import because it's a small data. Then I'll click next. Then I'll click finished, right? It has imported. So let me run it now. Wait. Okay, let me check something. I think I got error. Let me refresh. Right, the table is still empty. Right, the table created but it's still empty. Right, let me check. Let me drop it and check. It might be because I changed the data type. Right, let me import again. With this next. So let me leave it as a test all through now. Let's see how it goes. Then next to execute. Showing imported. Click next. 18 record. I think it's fine. It's fine now. Should be fine now. Right. Yeah. So it's because of the data type. So let me you can see the reason why I just like to allow my SQL to create. You can see, so we are fine. We are fine, right? So for those of you that are using MySQL, I think we are good now, right? So now, so we're going to go back to our SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server, MSS SQL, right? Okay. So the person that asks how to, okay, it doesn't cost money to download SQL Server if you have MySQL. Okay. Okay, so let's continue with this one, right? So now we've checked our data and we are fine now. So let's click on DSA. God, time has gone. Let's click on, then let's go to task. Then let's follow the same thing, right? This, then browse to, we're importing salary, right? Salary, right? Then dealt, right? You can see the salary. Yeah, I'll preview my data. I'll click next, right? Yeah, here I'm going to make salary ID as primary key here, right? And I will leave it as a tiny int. You can also change it to integer, right? Then salary is float. I'm going to leave it as a float, right? Or you can change this to decimal if you like. I'm going to change that to decimal if that's fine. Then I'll make this one as my integer, right? I click next, then I'll click finished, right? Success, everything is fine. Then I'm going to click refresh this, right? I should have my salary table now. So if I check this, you can see my salary, right? Now, one thing I notice now in my salary is that when we using SQL query to create the table, we specify that we want the salary. We want the salary to be, where's the table, right? We want the salary to be in the decimal places. We want to be 10 into 3, right? Into 3. But because we allow the SQL to specify our data type, so you can see the kind of the decimal that is given to me, which I don't like, right? I don't like. So what I can do here, I can change the data type again. I can alter the table and change the data type. Alter the table and change the data type so that it will reduce the number of decimal. Are you getting me? I will change it. So I'm going to write a SQL query that will change that, because if you check now, if I come to this place, you will see the salary data type is in 1810 decimal. 1810 decimal. So I don't want that. I'm going to change this to 10.3. 10.3. So I'm going to change it. So I'm going to alter the table, right? I'm going to alter the table. Sorry, a minute, please. Right, I'm going to alter the table called salary. Right, then alter the column called salary too. Right, then change the decimal, the data type to decimal, right? Then 10 into 3 into precision 3. So remember, in our SQL command, we talk about alter as part of SQL command under data manipulation language, right? Other data manipulation language. We talk about it. So what alter is what? Is to alter the table. It helps you to modify your table. It helps you to what? To modify your table. That's what alter does. So I just use alter for you now. Alter the table salary, then alter the column called salary. Then change the decimal from the way it was to a decimal, then to a decimal as a data type, then 10 to 3 precision, right? Now, if I execute this, you can see command successfully. So if I come to this place and refresh, if I change it now, so you can see that it has changed. You can see that it has changed, right? It has changed. Now, if I run this one again, let me run this. So you can see now that it has reduced to the 3 decimal places. Right? 3 decimal places, right? Someone is asking, how do we create primary key and foreign key if we are importing through this import wizard? Right? That's a good question, right? Stanley, and that's a good question. So when you are using this import wizard, you can create your primary key, but your foreign key, you have to write a SQL query, right? You already know that in this salary table now, the staff ID is our foreign key. You already know because it's reference primary, it's reference employee. So our foreign key here is staff ID. But how can we now make it like a foreign key so that it can reference it automatically? Yeah, we have to write. You can write a SQL query to do that. But I don't want to go too technical. But it's what I can explain, right? Yeah, that's a good question. It's actually know that you have studied ahead of me. That's good one, right? Someone is asking, how did you create the table for employee for salary? Adegoke John, are you sure you're actually following us? We've done that, right? Okay, so we've done. Right, so we've created the for salary now. So let's proceed and create for payment, right? Let's see if we can do this before the. Now, the next thing we want to do is for payment. Create a table for payment. So I'm going to explain something to you. Payment table for payment, right? Now, sorry, I'm going to do something. So this is the SQL query. This is SQL query we are using for payment, right? And I want you guys to pay attention. Let me explain this to you. In case you want to create a table, right, for, let's say, for an organization, for accounting department or for a finance department. So this can be of help, right? We'll create a database and create a table for salary structure or whatsoever. Now, we have a payment ID, we have account number, we have staff ID, we have bank, and we have payment method, right? Now, the payment ID, I'm using identity, just like the way we did in the salary table. Now, I'm referencing it as a primary key. You can see I've already referenced as a primary key. Then I have account number. In Nigeria, the account number is 10 digits. Let's say Nigeria. In some other countries, it might be actually more than 10, right? But let's assume that the account number is 10, right? So here, the data type is going to be big int. It can't be integer because it's 10, right? So I'm using big int. And peradventure, if it is more than 10 as well, you can still use big integer. Then the staff ID. Okay, the staff ID here now. Now, the staff ID here, I use integer, right? There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. It's going to give me error. So the error message, I'm going to show you how to correct that error message. So that's why I intentionally put integer here. Now, bank. I say bank, variable character, and I say default, zenith. Who can tell me what this means? I want to know if some people write what actually this line 65, what it means, right? So I say bank, data type is 255, the default, and I say Zenith Bank. What does it mean? Right? What does it mean? My fellow data analyst. This line 65, I said bank, the data type is a varchar, then the length is 255, and I use a default Zenith Bank. The main bank used by the employee in the company is Zenith Bank. It means the bank to send money to, okay? Bank name, okay? Someone has gotten it already. Temitayo Adeyemo, right? That's fine. So the main bank used by the employee in the company is Zenith, right? So if you are joining the company, if you don't have a bank account number with Zenith Bank, you have to open one. So they make it a default. They make it what? Default. So that is what means, right? Now, and I said the payment method, variable character, I said 50. And I used the word check. And I said, then I went for the payment method is either cash or transfer. Who can also tell me what this means also? What this statement means? This line 67, these two methods. Said payment method. So it's either, well, I think I've answered the question myself. Right? Okay, you're fine. I'm asking that question that line 66, right? Payment method, cash or transfer. What that statement, what does it mean? It means mode of payment, okay? It means the bank payment. The only way of payment, okay? Yeah, it means only way. It means it's either you get paid by cash or you get paid by transfer. So that's what it means. So the company can say, okay, it's either we pay by cash or we pay by transfer. So that's what it means. I think we understand everything now. So I can go ahead and create the table, right? The table created successfully. Then I can say, let's check what is in the table now. From payments, right? Then I select. So our table has been created successfully, right? Now let's insert into the table. Insert into the table. I'm going to copy from here. Right, I'm going to paste here. Right now, so we want to insert into the table now. So remember, we have a payment ID, we have account number, we have staff ID, we have bank, we have payment method. But because I've make bank as a default, bank will not be part of the column name I will specify here. You can see I only specify account number, staff ID, and payment method, right? I only specify the 3 columns. Meanwhile, we have 5 columns. So payment ID will automatically created by itself. Then the bank will be Zenith throughout. So if I run this now, sorry. Okay, this is the error message I want you guys to see. That's the reason why I use integer for staff ID. You can see that it said conversion failed when converting a variable character value to data type integer. right? You can see it. So you definitely you're going to get the error message, because if your data type is integer, right, and the value you want to insert is alphanumeric, contain alphabet and number, it's wrong. You get this kind of error message. So the SQL will not be able to convert it, because what you specify and what you are bringing in is totally different, right? So you will get this kind of error message, right? So in your working with SQL, there are different data type you will get. Some of them is this. So what you need to do now is that you don't need to drop the table. You don't need to drop the table. What you can do is to write a SQL query that will help you to change the data type from integer to a variable character. Let's look at it now. So I'm going to come to this place. So I'm going to do author table, right? The table name is called payment, right? Then author column, the column name. The column name is what? Is staff ID, right? Then the data type there was integer, but now I'm changing it to variable character, right? Then what length? Let's say 50. I think we have been using 56, right? Now, if I run this now, you can see that our command ran successfully. So if I go back again and I try to insert this, you can see that it went successfully, executed successfully, no error message. So I can check now. Now, if you like check this one, then you can see this, right? And then you can see account number. You can see the bank is what? Zenith Bank Trout. Zenith Bank Trout, right? Then you can also see the data type that I specify, right? So if I'm on the same page, right? Now, so I'm gonna drop the payment table, and we will now insert before our time. Okay, payment, drop payment table, right? This is drop now. Then I'm going to refresh, right? I've refreshed. Then I'll go back again. Okay, let's check our payments again. It's okay. Okay, then yeah, so you can see payment ID, account number, default. Now you can see that I have GT Bank. So later, what if at the end of the day, the company now change their policy that okay, whatever the banks you have, you can bring it in. If you have Fidelity, you have Bank of Scotland, Bank of America, it's not necessary you can bring in. So it means you have to now alter your SQL query. It means if you are insert, if you want to insert, that means you have to now to specify. Let me show you, right? I think I have the SQL query. Oh, sorry. Okay, so this is when I change the bank. You can see now we've now changed the bank. It's no longer is Zenith Bank as a default, right? So but this time around you now have to specify the bank. But in the first one you don't need to specify the bank, but now I have to specify the bank, right? So that's that. Now let's import our payments. Right, I'm going to right click, task to import flat file, click next, click browse, go to payment, click open, click next, right? I still want to make this one as my primary key, while staff ID still remain foreign key, right? Staff ID still remain foreign key, right? Click next, then everything is fine. Insert successfully, right? Then I'll come to this place and then refresh, right? I've refreshed, then I can check what I inserted, right? So you can see 24, right? Sorry, 23. Okay, let's take question. Today na today. Olusojo Mobolanle. Oh, sorry. I know. We are going to close now, Jessica. Yeah, we are closing now. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Thank you everyone. Right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Right.